Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Blake? What? Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Ron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. L. Ron Hubbard, the founder and leader of Scientology, died 40 years ago. Today would have been a true statement if I was doing this video 4 days ago. Oopsies, I missed it. He died 40 years ago, 4 days ago. And the announcement to all Scientologists that he died was 40 years ago yesterday. And that event where his death was announced was actually the first time that public Scientologists were meeting someone by the name of David Miscavige. And the event is incredible. And I figured, why don't we mark the occasion? I want to mark the occasion by sharing with you 2 or 3 clips from this event. Because not only is it the first time the public Scientologists were meeting David Miscavige, some of the biggest frauds of Scientology were introduced to the Scientology public at this event. And these frauds have persisted until present day. And I just want, it's also where we meet one of the people who was supposed to actually be the one to take over control of Scientology, not David Miscavige. And David Miscavige even introduces Pat Broker. Pat and Annie Broker were the 2 people who were supposed to at least oversee the transition of power from L. Ron Hubbard to other executives. There was never supposed to be one person in charge of Scientology. And if there was, it wasn't supposed to be David Miscavige. So let's check this out. These clips are absolutely fascinating. I have a whole version of this video published on my channel. It's called L. Ron Hubbard's Death Announcement Event. So we've got some timestamps here. Let's see. We're going to begin here. Okay. Oh my goodness. You guys want to talk about burying the lead. When public Scientologists were called into this event, showed up to this event, which I think was at the Hollywood Palladium, they did not know they were showing up for an event to announce L. Ron Hubbard's death. They had no idea. And watch what David Miscavige does. I feel like this is literally the epitome of burying the lead. Check this out.
Hello, my name is David Miscavige, and I'm very happy that you could all make it to this important briefing this evening.
Okay. Not only was there no applause when he introduced himself, because no one knows who the hell he is, but you hear the hecklers going, louder, louder. You could not be caught dead doing that today as a public Scientologist.
Okay, how about now? In 1980, LRH moved off the lines so that he could continue his writings and researches without any distractions. For many years, Ron had said that if he were given the time, and if others wore their hats and did their jobs, running and expanding the church, he would be able to concentrate on and complete all of his researches into the upper OT levels so that the bridge would be laid out in full for us all. Over the past 6 years, LRH has indeed been intensively researching the upper bands of OT. You are already enjoying the fruits of some of these researches, most notably solo knots. And more recently, you heard in Ron's Journal 39 that he had fully written up OT8, which would be released at the appropriate time by international management. As you may have surmised, LRH has completed many levels beyond that. Approximately 2 weeks ago, he completed all of his researches he had set out to do.
That's called burying the lead. They now think they are there for an announcement of the completion of L. Ron Hubbard's work. And he's about to be like, psych, he's dead. He's like, what have I done? What have I just done?
He has now moved on to his next level of OT research.
Still bearing it.
This level is beyond anything any one of us ever imagined. This level is in fact done in an exterior state, meaning that it is done completely exterior from the body.
Still bearing it.
At this level of OT, the body is nothing more than an impediment and encumbrance to any further gain as an OT.
They're still excited.
Thus, at 2,000 hours Friday, the 24th of January, AD 36, L. Ron Hubbard discarded the body he had used in this lifetime for 74 years, 10 months, and 11 days.
Not so excited, are you now? I mean, what a horrific way to introduce the death. Now, of course, in order to retain control of the cult and to con Scientologists and continuing to turn over their hard-earned money and their children to work for the church, they had to come up with this myth that L. Ron Hubbard causatively dropped his body to pursue upper-level research for which the body was just a hindrance, But it's like, oh, my goodness. All right, let's see. Let's see what else he has to say here.
The body he had used to facilitate his existence in this messed universe had ceased to be useful and, in fact, had become an impediment to the work he now must do outside of its confines. We felt it was important as Scientologists that you were the first to become aware of this fact.
Okay, good. I'm going to pause it right there. So here's the thing. In the little portion of the speech that he just gave, he mentions RJ 39 or Ron's Journal 39. From 1980 to 1986, L. Ron Hubbard was off in seclusion, really hiding from lawsuits and governments. But the story was that he was off in seclusion, finishing his upper-level research into the confidential Scientology levels that would turn everyone into superhuman, god-like beings. While he, during that period, during that 6-year period, he would audio record lectures called Ron's Journals. And these lectures would be like update lectures, like, hi, everyone. I know you've wondered about how I'm doing, and this is what's happening in my life, and this is what I'm working on, and this is what I'm focused on, and this is what I'm hoping for Scientology, and this is what I've asked management to do, and blah, 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 blah. And so he would keep the, body of Scientologists in the world updated, and it would be from him, from his own words. And so one of the things that I noted down as I was listening to this is, if this whole thing had not been, if the story that David Miscavige just told had not just been a complete fiction concocted to keep Scientologists under control, if there really were such a thing as these upper advanced operating Thetan levels, and if these levels really did produce this state called operating Thetan, this news that David Miscavige is telling everyone would not be being delivered by David Miscavige. Everything else he said right up until the point that L. Ron Hubbard died is something that would have been delivered by L. Ron Hubbard himself in a Ron's Journal. And he might even have said something about, I'm about to embark on a level of research for which the body is a hindrance. And, even though many of you will be upset, please don't be upset. He would have told everyone what was happening, except for the fact that, spoiler alert, it's all a bunch of bullshit. Okay. It's all a bunch of bullshit. And this thing, he did just say, as I'm sure you, many of you have assumed or whatever, not only did he finish writing up OT8, he has completed many OT levels beyond that. That is the single biggest lie and fraud that is perpetuated on all Scientologists every single day. And that lie has been perpetuated by David Miscavige since the day L. Ron Hubbard died, January 24, 1986. That was one of the big reveals that, for me, allowed me to leave Scientology without feeling bad about it, was finding out from the high-level executives who'd worked directly with L. Ron Hubbard, who worked at the highest levels of Scientology, who left Scientology and said, oh, there are no upper OT levels. They do not exist. They went through, in fact, finding out that these levels did not exist is how David Miscavige was able to steal control of Scientology from Pat Broker, who he is about to introduce. So let's go get my little timestamps here. David, L. Ron Hubbard's death announced. Okay. He's
Thus-
up. Oh, by the way.
thus-
Right after, I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to show you the speech. I'm just going to show that it's happening. The first person that gets introduced after David Miscavige introduces himself is L. Ron Hubbard's lawyer, of all things. Check this out.
The future. The first person I want to bring on here with me is Mr. Earl Cooley, who was the attorney who handled this matter at the time. Please welcome him.
The attorney who handled this matter at the time. He doesn't even say he's L. Ron Hubbard's personal attorney. He doesn't even say he's, the corporate attorney for Church of Scientology International. It's just a super weird way to introduce him. Okay, after Earl Cooley does his thing, he introduces Pat Broker. Check this out. Keep in mind, guys, Pat Broker was the guy who was supposed to either take over Scientology, Pat and his wife Annie, either take over Scientology or oversee the transition of power from L. Ron Hubbard to various other committees. And David Miscavige ended up getting rid of him.
When LRH left in 1980 to do his researches, he took with him his two most trusted friends and companions. These two people were Pat Broker and Annie Broker. They lived and worked with him for the last 6 years during the time period of this research. And this evening, Pat Broker is here to speak to you in regards to that. Please welcome him.
Get a load of how strange Pat Broker's mannerisms are. Totally uncharacteristic of any other Sea Org executive I've ever known.
Can everyone hear me okay? If there's anyone who can't, then please move to where you can. Okay. As David mentioned, it was my honor to serve under him these last 6 years, and before that, in the Sea Org in general. And there is just no greater honor. Those of you know in the Sea Org and his friends know exactly what I'm talking about. Specifically, because I was close to him these last 6 years, there's 4 very, very important subjects that I want to discuss with you just very briefly. Firstly, I want to talk to you a little bit more detail, as David mentioned, about his decision. And yes, it was absolutely his causative decision.
Don't you forget
To
it.
discard that body. Around January, late January 1982, he made a significant breakthrough on what is now new OTA, Truth Revealed. And it was at that time that he found the primary cause for amnesia on the whole track, as he mentioned in that Ron's journal, RJ39, I think it is.
I think it is.
That opened up to him significant stretches of track that were previously unavailable.
Guys, when he says track and whole track, that means all your past life memories. The whole your track is the track is your past, and the whole track is your collection, cumulative collection of memories of your past lives.
And or in some cases, not even known about. Now I'm going to show you right now. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in the audience, but
this is such a weird gimmick. To explain what you're about to see real quick, all Scientology auditing sessions, whether someone is auditing you or whether you're auditing yourself, you are keeping a written record of the session on papers called the session worksheets as the session goes along. And he is simply about to show a photocopy of a portion of one of L. Ron Hubbard's solo auditing worksheets.
as this is being televised, I'm going to show it to the camera so that later, if you see a tape of this, you can then see what I'm displaying. I have here a worksheet from one of his sessions in later 1982. This makes up now.
Didn't he originally say it was in January 1982? Now he's saying it's in later 1982. You know, maybe he's just getting confused.
What is OT10 character?
Wait.
Now I've Xeroxed.
Oh,
this
I'm sorry. Let me back up.
Later 1982.
I'm sorry, guys. I think he said he made a breakthrough in January 82 that cleared up amnesia on the whole track. And then in later 1982, he was working on OT10, and that's the worksheet he's about to show us. Yeah.
This makes up now what is OT10 character. Now I've Xeroxed this worksheet, and in so doing, I took the liberty of blocking out a section above what I want to show you and a section below.
Now, in order to look at the session worksheets for someone on OT10, you yourself would have to at least be OT9. Okay. And this is part of where this fraud was born at this event. There's no such thing as OT9. There's no such thing as OT10. So for him, the reason he's making this joke about I blocked out what's above and I blocked out what's below is because the implication is that what you would see if he didn't block it out is something that is so confidential and so dangerous to you that if you were exposed to it, it would have a negative effect on your health. The implication being it wasn't dangerous to Pat Broker because he's also at that level of the bridge.
When you do OT10, you'll thank me. And
implying Pat Broker has done OT10, which I repeat, does not exist.
you'll understand.
Guys, that's a date. That is a date. That is in a Scientology auditing session. There's some instances where you'll come up with some memory or some recollection, and the auditor uses the Scientology e-meter to help figure out the date of the incident. And let's see how he explains this.
I hope that's clear there. This block that you can see consists of series of numbers, 3 numbers, comma, another 3 numbers, comma, and it's about, well, it's 12 down and it's 15 across. This there is a date.
That's it. That's all he says. He's about to get a fucking standing ovation for that. Everyone's confused. What do we do? Oh, we're going to applaud.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a date. Okay. Oh. 3 cheers to LRH. 3 cheers to LRH. Okay. That applause goes on for much longer than you'd think it would. Guys, this is where the lie was born. This is where the lie was born. In RJ 39, L. Ron Hubbard talked about the soon to come release of OT8. That's when Scientology then went and they bought the Freewinds ship, and the maiden voyage of the Freewinds ship was the release of OT8. And that might have been 1988, right thereabouts. So what is that? So 88, that would have been 25, 37 years ago. 37 years ago, Pat Broker told all Scientologists that not only had Ron done OT10, Pat himself had done OT10. Scientologists have been waiting for OT9 and 10 that entire time. And they've only been waiting because at this event, they were lied to and told that it existed. So when L. Ron Hubbard died, remember, because Pat and Annie were just introduced as L. Ron Hubbard's basically closest and most trusted friends and advisors, or whatever words he used. When L. Ron Hubbard died, Pat Broker claimed to be in possession of all of the unreleased secret upper OT levels that LRH had researched and completed while he was in seclusion. And that is how Pat Broker retained control of Scientology for a certain amount of time after L. Ron Hubbard died. David Miscavige orchestrated a coup where he showed up with a bunch of his henchmen and trucks and guns while Pat was out of town. and went to the place where all the materials were allegedly being stored and fed the guards at this location a story that Scientology spies inside the federal government had just learned of a plan to raid the warehouse and take possession of all the materials. And they had to get all the materials out of that warehouse and load it up into the trucks, or else the federal government would be in possession of Scientology's upper level secret materials, and that could not be allowed to occur. That is how David Miscavige took possession of all of L. Ron Hubbard's files that Pat Broker had in his control. They went through every scrap of paper and found not even one clue, not one scrap to indicate what the hell was on OT 9 or 10. At that moment, David Miscavige found out that Scientology was a fraud. This is one of the big things that makes Scientology different. Like, oh, how's Scientology different than any of the other world's religions? I'll tell you how. Christians actually believe in heaven and God and Jesus. Scientologists don't have faith in anything other than what L. Ron Hubbard and David Miscavige has told them. So, like, when the Pope says there's a heaven, he's being honest from his perspective. When David Miscavige tells all Scientologists, if you just get all Scientology organizations up to the size of Old St. Hill, we'll be able to release OT 9 and 10. He's lying. He's defrauding all Scientologists in the world and has been at every major Scientology international event since 1986. Okay, there's another clip that I want to show you here. I think we're just going to go until 25:40. No, that one's no, what was the other thing I wanted to show you here? Give me 1 second. Oh, yes. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen. I'm not even going to introduce it. Here it is.
We also, by the way, have the OT level that is going to be done immediately after every Thetan discards his or her body.
What?
He wrote that up before he went.
That doesn't even make any sense to a Scientologist. The OT level everyone's going to do right after they die? Well, then it's not an OT level. It's maybe it's a Scientology assist. Anyway, until I saw this event myself for the first time just a few years ago, I had never even heard of such a thing because no one knows what the hell he was talking about. The OT levels are supposed to be these magical confidential levels that put you into bring you up to a level of spiritual awareness and ability where you can be independent of the physical universe. You can causatively go in and out of your body at will. You can skip the between lives implant station run by the evil alien psychiatrists where they wipe our memories of our previous life and shoot us down into a new baby body so that we grow up in a new body, living another lifetime on this prison planet, which is how it's being used, how this planet's being used by the Galactic Confederacy. The OT levels are supposed to be what allows you to retain all your memories of your previous lives. And then he's like, we've got an OT level that everyone's going to do after they die. Doesn't make any sense. That's really all from this event that I wanted to show you. The whole event itself is about an hour and 14 minutes. A good portion of that is people standing up and applauding to photographs of LRH. And ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. Dominic Smith says, I'm sure this stream will be loving and respectful to L. Ron Hubbard's memory for all the amazing good he did. Let me get back to you on that. Michael and Dwight, but he's going to reappear like a butterfly. You'll notice in this event, they did not say he was coming back. I realize I didn't play you the whole event. Take my word for it. At no point in the event do they say anyone should expect L. Ron Hubbard to return. I, as a good little Scientology soldier, growing up working for Scientology, was never under the impression that L. Ron Hubbard was supposed to come back. I was actually specifically under the impression he was not supposed to come back. And I was shocked to discover sometime after 2009, that the Scientology Sea Org members who worked at the confidential management base outside of Hemet, California, were told the exact opposite, that L. Ron Hubbard would be coming back sometime 18 to 21 years after he died. And right around when it was getting close to that time, David Miscavige clearly believed that, because according to reports from the executives who were there at that time, when it was getting close to the time L. Ron Hubbard was supposed to come back, David Miscavige started doing a lot of things that had to be done before L. Ron Hubbard was going to return. Like they tore down a house, built him a new mansion, set out all of his clothes for him, awaiting for his return every day. Crazy stuff, you guys. Super Weekend Warriors, I was there at that event, and it's true. We had no clue why we had to be there. Incredible. Blue Ridge Hiker, I just watched the interview on the Hodge. Very good. Yes, I had a lot of fun with that on that interview. Tracy, 40 years ago today, same day as the Challenger explosion. Coincidence? Yeah, Tracy, actually 40 years ago, 4 days ago. Sharona, they used that catastrophe to bury the lead too. Okay, Tracy, the bizarre reaction. At first, it was a normal response. Then they all realized they aren't supposed to be sad or upset. Yeah. Northern Girl, he's taking pleasure at keeping them excited while knowing he's dead. That is sick. Laura Bensinger, I don't understand how today's people go into this thought pattern and life choice and jump in with both feet. Old Frizzle, sorry, how long after L. Ron Hubbard's death was it announced? Yes, 3 days later. He died on the 24th. This event was on the 27th. Dominic, of all the comical stories to come out of Scientology, Pat Broker stating that Ron's notes for the upper levels were doodles of penises had to be the best. Huetzer, so these past life memories, do they go back to our single cell lives? Yes, I mean, as you can see by the date on that worksheet, they go back prior to the creation of this universe. I mean, you saw how far that date was, right? Crivericium, I'm back. Social credits tube. Bro, if L. Ron Hubbard comes back to life this year, we are all in serious trouble. Lauren, wasn't L. Ron Hubbard supposed to be back after 21 years? What does David Miscavige think about that? I do wonder what he thinks about that. Virginia, such silly lies from way back. Why is anyone still there? And Dominic, if Pat Broker had been smart, he would have seen the writing on the wall during L. Ron Hubbard's decline in his final years and wrote some crap himself to keep as leverage, claiming that it's from LRH. That's true. Janet from another planet, welcome as a new channel member. All right, guys, that is it for me for tonight. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right